Joining me now is Kevin Sabet. He's the president of Smart Approaches to Marijuana, which advocates for a health-first approach to marijuana policy. Kevin, thank you for being here. So what should states be considering when they legalize marijuana?
Well, today's marijuana is not Woodstock weed. It's much more harmful than it ever was. In fact, if there's ever been an argument to discourage use, it's now more than in 1937. Of course, it's so different from hemp that was shown in your earlier segment. It's a different drug than it was even 20 years ago. It's highly potent. It's been genetically bred to have the THC increase. We're seeing a 5 times link to psychosis, which is a very, very big deal. Schizophrenia as well, other mental illnesses, IQ point loss of up to 8 points. This isn't something we should be celebrating and commercializing. I agree with Jason and with my friend Wes Moore that absolutely let's commute sentences. We don't need to have people staying in prison for a long time, but there's a huge difference between the commercialization, which is just getting Wall Street rich, and frankly, a few white guys, definitely not people of color. There's a big difference between that and actually having criminal justice reform. So I got to say, unfortunately, I think the industry is taking people like Jason and laughing all the way to the bank because they're basically using their argument of social justice to make money. This is about money, and it's not about anything else. So happy to have commuting of sentences, but this is about money.
So what's the solution here?
Well, let's remove criminal penalties, but let's also discourage use. Let's have a real social media and other media campaign talking to young people about how this stunts brain growth, about how this hurts your developing brain, about how this doubles your risk of a car crash, how this quintuples your risk of psychosis, and how this is the #1 drug related to suicide. Let's have a real issue and discussion without these false dichotomy between criminalization and commercialization. I don't want criminalization. Nobody does. By the way, not one person will be released from prison due to today's actions by the governor. And if it's rescheduled, not one person is going to prison for a fewer number of years. So this issue of legalization and rescheduling and all of that, unfortunately, those people wanting to make money have used social justice to advance their cause. And I'd love to work with Jason on issues of criminal justice reform, but we also need to work on education.
Real quick, we got about 30 seconds. We mentioned that Pew Research shows that 1 in 10 people think that it should remain illegal. That means an overwhelming number of people support legalization. What are they getting wrong?
Well, actually, I'll tell you that I question that poll because Emerson, which is much highly ranked according to the New York Times than even Pew on this, when Emerson does their polling, they distinguish between decriminalization and legalization, along with medical and prohibition. And they show that the support for legalization is driven by decriminalization, which is a different issue entirely. So when you lump things together, sure, you're going to have numbers like that. But I'd like to see a little bit tighter polls being shown like the Emerson one.
Fair enough. Kevin Sabet, thank you for your time tonight.